The stars looked different from the bridge of the UES Defender. Captain William Clark stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the strange ship approach. It was 3 times the size of his vessel, and shaped like a massive arrowhead. Its hull glowed with soft blue light that pulsed in a steady rhythm. "Any response to our hails?" William asked, keeping his voice calm despite the tension building in his chest. Lieutenant Mary Cole shook her head. "Nothing yet, sir, but they're definitely scanning us." The massive alien ship had appeared at the edge of the solar system just 6 hours ago. It moved faster than any human spacecraft, crossing the distance from Neptune's orbit to Earth in what should have taken months. "Sir," Mary called out, her eyes wide, "we're receiving a transmission. They're speaking English." William nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, thin creature with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. It had no visible nose, just small breathing slits, and its mouth was a thin line across its face. When it spoke, the mouth barely moved. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am High Emissary Zorthal of the Galactic Confederation, representing 217 spacefaring species. We come in peace and wish to welcome humanity to the greater community of the stars." William stepped forward. "I am Captain William Clark of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We return your peaceful greeting and welcome you to our system." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Your quick adaptation to our presence is noteworthy. Many species require multiple contacts before meaningful communication can be established." "We've been preparing for this moment for generations," William replied. 3 days later, William sat across from Zorthal in the newly established meeting room at the lunar base. Earth's top officials watched the proceedings via secure video link. The alien delegation included 4 other species, each stranger than the last. One looked like a giant insect, another was a floating ball of light contained in a special suit, the third resembled a walking plant, and the fourth was a small furry creature with 6 arms. "The Confederation spans over 40% of this galaxy," Zorthal explained. "Our oldest member species has been traveling between stars for over 50,000 of your years." "And where does humanity fit in this confederation?" asked General Paul Howard, Earth's military representative. "As newcomers, you would begin as observers," said the plant-like alien, whose name was untranslatable, but who went by Green. "Most species take centuries to fully integrate into Confederation society." William noticed how the aliens exchanged quick glances. There was something they weren't saying. Later, when the meeting ended, William found himself alone with Zorthal in the observation dome, looking out at the Earth hanging in the black sky. "Your world is quite beautiful," the alien said. "Such abundant water is rare." "Thank you," William replied. "I'm curious about something. You seem surprised by us." Zorthal's large eyes blinked slowly. "Your species progressed from primitive flight to space travel in less than a century. That is unusual. Most species develop more gradually." "Is that a problem?" William asked. "Not necessarily, but it has been noted." The alien turned to look directly at William. "The Confederation Council has already designated Earth as a Class 3 civilization." "What does that mean?" "It means you have potential, but also require observation." Zorthal's voice became softer. "Some council members expressed concerns about your species' history of conflict." William felt a chill run down his spine. Every intelligent species must have similar histories. "Not all," Zorthal said, "and fewer with such intensity." As William watched the alien walk away, he couldn't shake the feeling that behind the friendly words and promises of cooperation, the Confederation already viewed humanity with caution, perhaps even fear. He made a mental note to recommend increased funding for Earth's defense systems in his report. First contact had been peaceful, but William Clark had not survived 3 space conflicts by being naive. The stars suddenly seemed colder as he looked out at them, wondering what other judgments the Confederation had already made about humanity. 6 months after first contact, Kate Morgan stood at the viewing window of the transport ship, watching as Nexus Prime came into view. The alien world was enormous, with sprawling cities that glittered like jewels across its surface. Massive space stations orbited the planet, connected by streams of small ships. Quite a sight, isn't it? Dr. Alan Phillips joined her at the window. The xenobiologist had barely slept during their 3-week journey from Earth. "It's beautiful," Kate said, "and terrifying." As military analysts for the Earth delegation, Kate's job was to observe and report on the Confederation's military capabilities. So far, what she had seen made Earth's best weapons look like toys. Their ship docked at the main station, where they were greeted by Zorthal. "Welcome to Nexus Prime, the heart of the Confederation. Your quarters have been prepared in the diplomatic sector." The human delegation consisted of 12 people, a mix of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. They were guided to a large building with curved walls and ceilings that were much too high for human comfort. Everything seemed designed for beings larger than humans. In the following weeks, Kate attended countless meetings and tours. She noticed how the older species dominated discussions, while newer members sat quietly. When Kate asked questions about defensive systems or military protocol, the answers were always vague. During a formal dinner with representatives from 20 different species, Kate sat beside a reptilian diplomat named Shrev. "Your species was granted observer status very quickly," Shrev said, his forked tongue flicking between sharp teeth. "Many of us waited decades. We're grateful for the opportunity," Kate replied carefully. Shrev made a hissing sound that might have been laughter. "It is not a compliment. The Council fears what they do not understand. They prefer to keep potential threats close." Kate's fork paused halfway to her mouth. "Threats? Earth has shown no hostility. It is not what you have done," Shrev said quietly. "It is what you might do. Humans adapt too quickly. It makes the elders nervous." Later that night, Kate found Alan in the research library. His access badge had higher clearance than hers because of his scientific status. "Find anything interesting?" she asked. Alan looked around to make sure they were alone. "Too much. The Confederation has technology they're not sharing with us. Defense systems that could protect Earth from almost any threat. Why keep it secret?" "Because they don't trust us," Alan said. "I found our species classification. We're listed as potentially disruptive to established order and showing concerning military development patterns." The next day, Kate attended a council meeting where the delegates discussed resource allocation. When a newer species requested access to advanced terraforming technology, they were denied. Kate stood up. "Earth has successful terraforming projects on Mars. We would be willing to share our knowledge." The room went silent. The elder representatives exchanged glances. "Your offer is appreciated but unnecessary," said a tall, willowy alien with 4 arms. "The Council has determined that certain technology should be distributed according to established protocols." "You mean according to who you trust," Kate said before she could stop herself. On her way out, Zorthal caught up with her. "That was unwise, Kate Morgan. The Council does not appreciate being challenged." "Why are humans being treated differently?" Kate demanded. "We've complied with every regulation." Zorthal's large eyes blinked slowly. "Humans are unpredictable. Your history shows remarkable progress, but also remarkable destruction. No other species has come so close to destroying their homeworld so many times." "That's our past," Kate argued. "We've moved beyond those mistakes." "Perhaps, but the Council prefers caution." Zorthal lowered his voice. "There are those who believe your kind should never have been contacted at all." As Kate walked away, she felt cold dread spreading through her chest. The Confederation wasn't welcoming humanity as equals. They were watching them, studying them, possibly even containing them. She needed to warn Earth before it was too late. The emergency alarms on Nexus Prime blared through the night. Kate Morgan ran down the curved hallway toward the central command center, pushing past aliens of various shapes and sizes. Some had too many limbs, others floated rather than walked, but all shared the same look of fear. Inside the command center, massive screens showed the destruction of a Confederation outpost. The space station was breaking apart, its pieces floating into the darkness of space. Small ships tried to escape, but strange black vessels with red markings hunted them down one by one. "What's happening?" Kate asked a nearby officer. "The Agressi." The insect-like alien clicked through its translator. "They have returned." Kate had never heard of the Agressi before. She watched as Zorthal entered the room, his normally blue skin now pale with stress. "3 outposts have been attacked," Zorthal announced. "The Agressi fleet is moving through Sector 7, heading toward Sector 8. Kate felt her heart skip. Sector 8 was where Earth was located. Captain William Clark, now working as a military observer with the Confederation fleet, stood in a corner studying a star map. Kate moved to his side. "Who are the Agressi?" she whispered. "A species the Confederation thought they had contained centuries ago," William explained quietly. "They're aggressive expansionists who believe all other life forms are inferior. The Confederation locked them in their home system with a quarantine network, but they've somehow broken free." Over the next few days, more attacks followed. The Confederation's defense fleets struggled against the Agressi's unusual tactics. Unlike the orderly, formation-based warfare the Confederation practiced, the Agressi ships moved in chaotic patterns, making them difficult to target. During a High Council meeting, Kate and William watched from the observer section as the Confederation leaders argued about how to respond. "They're headed for human space," said the plant-like alien named Green. "We must reinforce Earth's defenses immediately." "Earth has minimal strategic value," countered a large gelatinous creature. "Our resources are better used protecting established worlds." After hours of debate, the council voted. Kate felt sick as Zorthal announced the decision. "The Confederation will establish a containment perimeter at the edge of Sector 8. All forces will focus on holding this line. That leaves Earth outside the perimeter," William said, standing up. "You're using us as a buffer." Zorthal didn't meet his eyes. "The Council has made its decision." That night, William found Kate in the communication center. "I need your help," he said urgently. "I've accessed the Confederation's tracking data. An Agressi scout fleet is already heading toward Sol. They'll reach Earth in less than 2 weeks." "The Council knows this?" Kate asked. William nodded grimly. "They know, and they've decided Earth is dispensable." "We need to warn home," Kate said. "The Council has blocked all transmissions to Earth," William explained. "They don't want to cause unnecessary panic among less developed species." "So what do we do?" William showed her a small device. "This is a quantum communicator I borrowed from the Confederation's military storage. It can send one message through subspace, bypassing the normal communication channels." Kate helped William set up the device in his quarters, away from the watchful eyes of the Confederation's security systems. The message they sent was simple but dire. "Hostile fleet approaching Sol. Confederation will not help. Prepare for battle. You have 2 weeks." On Earth, Fleet Admiral Susan Reeves stared at the message on her screen. She had known the day might come when Earth would face a threat alone. The Confederation had always seemed too good to be true. "Alert all commands," she ordered. "Activate Defense Plan Omega. And get me everything we have on these Agressi." As Earth prepared for war, the Agressi fleet moved steadily closer, unaware that they were about to encounter the one species in the galaxy that the Confederation truly feared. The Agressi fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system with 12 massive warships. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. Behind them came dozens of smaller attack ships, their hulls dark as night with glowing red symbols. Admiral Susan Reeves stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the UES Valiant. Earth had only 6 large warships and a handful of defense platforms orbiting the planet. The odds looked impossible. "They're moving into standard attack formation," reported Commander John Miller. Looks like they're preparing for a direct assault. Susan smiled grimly. Good. They think this will be easy. For 2 weeks, Earth had prepared in ways the Aggressi could never imagine. Susan had studied every battle tactic in human history, from ancient naval warfare to modern space combat. The plan she created was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. All ships, move to position Theta, Susan ordered. Deploy asteroid miners as planned. Instead of meeting the Aggressi head-on, the Earth fleet retreated to the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. For 3 days, the Aggressi followed cautiously, clearly confused by the human retreat. When the alien fleet entered the asteroid belt, Susan gave the signal. Hundreds of mining charges exploded simultaneously, sending thousands of asteroid fragments toward the Aggressi ships. Their shields flashed as they tried to block the storm of rocks. Now, Susan commanded, execute Wolf Pack. Earth's 6 warships split into pairs, attacking from multiple directions like ancient submarine wolf packs. They struck quickly, then disappeared behind asteroids before the Aggressi could respond. The alien ships fired their weapons wildly, trying to hit the nimble Earth vessels. Their formation began to break apart as they chased the smaller human ships through the asteroid field. Admiral, called out Lieutenant Lisa Owens. They're deploying their neural disruptor. This was the weapon the Confederation feared most, a field of energy that attacked the nervous system directly. It could incapacitate entire crews without damaging ships. Susan held her breath as the wave of energy washed over the Earth fleet. On the other ships, crew members reported mild headaches and nausea, but remained conscious and functional. It seems humans are more resistant to their neural weapon than other species, Susan observed. Now we press our advantage. The Earth ships continued their hit-and-run attacks, drawing the Aggressi deeper into the trap. When the largest Aggressi dreadnought destroyed the UES Challenger, killing all hands, Susan knew it was time for their final gambit. All remaining ships fall back to Mars orbit, she ordered. Activate NOVA stations. Throughout the battle, no one had noticed the small, unmanned stations positioned near the sun. Now they activated, firing specially designed devices directly into the sun's surface. NOVA devices active, reported Commander Miller. Solar flare imminent. All ships deploy electromagnetic shields. The Earth ships activated their special shields, designed to withstand the massive electromagnetic pulse that was coming. The Aggressi, still pursuing their retreating enemy, had no warning. When the induced solar flare erupted, it sent a wave of radiation and electromagnetic energy across the inner solar system. The Earth ships, protected by their specialized shields, weathered the storm. The Aggressi fleet, with their shields still configured for conventional weapons, suffered catastrophic failures across their systems. Their ships are dead in space, Miller reported, unable to keep the awe from his voice. They're completely disabled. Susan watched as the mighty Aggressi fleet drifted helplessly. 3 of their smaller ships had been destroyed outright, their hulls breached by the electromagnetic surge. The others floated with minimal power, unable to fight or flee. Send in the boarding parties, Susan ordered. Take prisoners if they surrender, and recover any technology we can use. As the battle ended, a single Aggressi ship managed to restart its engines. It fled at high speed, jumping to faster-than-light travel just beyond Neptune's orbit. Susan didn't try to stop it. Let it go, she said quietly. Let it tell the others what happened here today. What she didn't know was that the fleeing ship would carry news not just to the Aggressi, but to the entire Confederation, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. News of Earth's victory spread through the Confederation like wildfire. Kate Morgan watched the reactions of the alien delegates on Nexus Prime with growing concern. At first, there were congratulations. Humans had done the impossible. They had defeated an Aggressi fleet that even the Confederation feared. But the mood changed quickly when the details of the battle became known. They weaponized their star. A tall, crystal-like alien whispered to its companion as Kate passed by. What kind of species thinks of such a thing? In the main council chamber, Kate and Dr. Alan Phillips sat in the observer section, while the Confederation's military committee reviewed the battle footage. The recording showed Earth ships hiding among asteroids, fighting in ways that broke every rule of civilized space combat, and finally, triggering a solar flare as a weapon. "The humans show no regard for established battle protocols," said General Vex, a six-armed warrior from a species known for their strict adherence to rules. "They fight without honor." They survived. Captain William Clark countered from his position at the military advisor's table. "Against an enemy you said couldn't be defeated." "At what cost?" asked another delegate. "Using a star as a weapon could have catastrophic consequences for their entire system. Our scientists calculated the risks," William said. "The solar flare was controlled." "That is perhaps more disturbing," said Zorthal, who now looked at William with something close to fear in his large eyes. "You had such weapons prepared in advance." Kate tried to explain. "The NOVA stations were designed as a last resort. We hoped never to use them." But the council wasn't listening anymore. They were too busy watching the footage of human boarding parties capturing Aggressi ships. The Aggressi used neural disruptors at close range, weapons that should have paralyzed any living being. Yet the humans merely winced and kept fighting. "They are immune to neural disruption technology," whispered Green, the plant-like alien. "That is not natural. It should not be possible." After the meeting, Kate found herself and Alan under constant surveillance. Their access to most areas of Nexus Prime was now restricted. William was removed from the Military Advisory Council without explanation. One evening, William found Kate in the garden area of the human quarters. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "But not here." They walked to a small maintenance area where the monitoring devices were fewer. William had learned the blind spots during his time with the Confederation military. "I overheard a meeting of the High Council," he told her. "They're calling us the human problem." "They're scared, Kate. Really scared." "Of what?" "We saved ourselves when they abandoned us," Kate said bitterly. "That's exactly what terrifies them. We were supposed to be easy prey for the Aggressi. Instead, we destroyed most of their fleet using tactics no one had ever considered." William lowered his voice further. "The elder species are pushing for containment protocol." "What does that mean?" "It means they want to do to us what they did to the Aggressi centuries ago. Quarantine us in our home system. Permanently." Alan joined them, looking worried. "I've been locked out of the scientific database, but not before I discovered something. The Confederation has reclassified Earth from a Class 3 civilization to a Class 1. "What's Class 1? Kate asked. "The highest threat level," Alan explained. "Previously reserved for species that pose an extinction-level danger to the galaxy." Kate couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Because we defended ourselves. Because we did it too well," William said grimly. "The Confederation values predictability above all else. We're anything but predictable." That night, Kate couldn't sleep. From her window, she could see ships arriving at Nexus Prime, more military vessels than she had ever seen in one place. The Confederation was mobilizing its fleet. Not against the remaining Aggressi, she realized with growing dread. Against Earth. She needed to warn home again, but this time, she suspected the Confederation would be watching for any unauthorized communications. Earth had won the battle, but Kate feared they were about to lose something much bigger. 3 weeks after the Battle of Sol, the Confederation called an emergency session of the full council. Every member species sent representatives to Nexus Prime. The massive council chamber was filled beyond capacity, with many delegates standing along the walls. Kate, Alan, and William were ordered to attend as Earth's representatives. They sat in a small section at the front, feeling the stares of hundreds of alien eyes on their backs. "This special session of the Confederation Council is now open," announced the eldest member, a being so ancient its actual form was hidden inside a life support pod. "We are here to address the matter of Sol system and its dominant species." Zorthal stood and moved to the center of the chamber. His blue skin looked ashen, and his normally fluid movements were stiff. The recent conflict between humans and the Aggressi has revealed information that this council cannot ignore, Zorthal began. Humans have demonstrated capabilities that pose an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. William stood up. We defended ourselves against an enemy you said couldn't be defeated. And now you punish us for surviving. It is not that you survived, Zorthal replied. It is how you survived. Your species employed tactics that violated every established protocol of warfare. You weaponized a star. You showed immunity to neural disruption technology. You demonstrated a willingness to employ methods that no civilized species would consider. We did what we had to do, Kate said, also standing. You left us to die. Murmurs rippled through the chamber at her accusation. The council made a strategic decision, Zorthal said coldly, one that did not anticipate your extreme measures. The ancient being in the life support pod spoke next, its voice translated through speakers. Let us proceed to the vote. The proposal before the council is the implementation of Isolation Decree 17B, specifically adapted for the human situation. One by one, the representatives voted. Kate watched in dismay as species after species voted in favor of the decree. Even those who had initially congratulated humans on their victory now turned against them. When the voting ended, the result was nearly unanimous. Only 3 species out of 217 had voted against the decree. The vote is clear, the ancient being announced. Isolation Decree 17B will be implemented immediately. Earth Representative, please stand to receive the Council's decision. William stepped forward, his face a mask of controlled anger. By order of the Galactic Confederation, the Sol system and all human territories are hereby quarantined, the ancient being declared. Automated sentinel platforms will be established at the boundaries of your system. Any ship, human or otherwise, attempting to cross this boundary will be destroyed without warning. Kate gasped. You're trapping us in our own system. The official reason for this action will be recorded as containment of unpredictable evolutionary divergence threatening galactic stability. The ancient being continued, ignoring her. The human delegation will depart Nexus Prime within 24 hours. This decree is permanent and non-negotiable. The chamber erupted into noise as delegates discussed the historic decision. Kate looked around at the alien faces, seeing relief, satisfaction, and in some cases, regret. This is not justice, William said quietly to Zorthal. This is fear. Zorthal could not meet his eyes. Perhaps it is both. As the human delegation was escorted back to their quarters, Kate slipped away. She had one last task to complete before they were sent home. Using an access code she had memorized from Alan's research, she entered a restricted data archive. Working quickly, she copied files onto a data crystal she had hidden in her clothing. The files contained the true extent of the Confederation's fear, strategic assessments of human potential, biological studies of human adaptability, and long-term containment plans. When guards found her, Kate had already hidden the crystal. They escorted her roughly back to the human quarters, where Alan and William were packing. The shuttle leaves in an hour, Alan told her. They're sending us home. Home to a prison, William said bitterly. Kate touched the hidden crystal. Maybe, she whispered, but they've given us something they didn't intend. Time to prepare for what comes next. 5 years passed since the quarantine began. Earth and its colonies on Mars and the Moon had changed. The Sentinel platforms now orbited at the edge of the solar system, powerful weapons ready to destroy any ship that tried to leave. Kate Morgan stood at the window of her office in New Geneva, watching ships move across the sky. As director of Earth's Extraterrestrial Intelligence Agency, she had one of the best views of the planet. In the distance, construction crews worked on new buildings that stretched toward the clouds. There was a knock at her door. General William Clark, now with gray at his temples, entered with Dr. Alan Phillips. The council is ready for you, William said. Kate nodded, and grabbed the data pad from her desk. Together, they walked to the large meeting room where Earth's unified council waited. The 20 representatives from all major regions of Earth stood as they entered. "Director Morgan," said the council president, "your report, please." Kate activated the holographic display in the center of the room. It showed the solar system, with red dots marking the locations of the Confederation's Sentinel platforms. "Project Starbridge has succeeded," she announced. "The UES Pathfinder passed beyond Neptune's orbit yesterday. It moved through the Sentinel network without detection." A murmur of excitement passed through the council. "You're certain the ship wasn't spotted?" asked one of the representatives. "Positive," Kate replied. "Our stealth technology worked perfectly. The Confederation has no idea we've broken their quarantine." This was what Kate had been working toward since their return from Nexus Prime. Using the stolen data crystal and technology salvaged from captured Aggressi ships, Earth had made huge technological advances. "What about the biological research?" asked the council president, turning to Alan. Dr. Phillips stepped forward. "We've identified why humans are resistant to neural disruption. It's a unique aspect of our brain chemistry." He smiled slightly. "We're also working on ways to enhance this resistance even further, and possibly even adapt it into defensive technology." William took over the briefing. "The Pathfinder will remain beyond the Sentinel network for 1 month, gathering data and testing systems. If all goes well, we'll send 3 more ships in the next year." "And the Confederation?" asked the council member. "Any change in their position?" Kate shook her head. "Their official stance remains the same. Earth is quarantined permanently, but our intelligence suggests they've reduced the number of patrol ships checking the Sentinels. They believe we've accepted our imprisonment." After the meeting, Kate, William, and Alan walked together in the garden outside the council building. Spring flowers bloomed around them, a reminder that life continued despite the quarantine. "5 years ago, I thought we were finished," Alan admitted. "Trapped in our own system forever." "The Confederation made a mistake," William said. "They gave us time and motivation. 2 things humans use very well." Kate looked up at the sky, where stars were just becoming visible in the evening light. "They think they know us, but they only saw one side of humanity, our ability to fight when threatened. What they don't understand is our patience," William agreed. "Our determination. What do we do when we have more ships that can slip past the Sentinels?" Alan asked. "Declare war on the Confederation." Kate shook her head. "No, we watch. We learn. We build. The Confederation fears us because they don't understand us. But one day they'll face another threat they can't handle, and we'll be ready." "Ready for what?" Alan asked. "To save them," Kate said simply. "To show them that the same creativity that makes us dangerous also makes us valuable allies." As the sun set over New Geneva, the 3 friends looked up at the stars. The quarantine that was meant to contain humanity had instead forced it to grow stronger, more united, more determined. Earth was no longer reaching for the stars out of curiosity alone, but with purpose. The Confederation had banned humans forever after just one battle. What they would never understand is that humans excel at the long game, and this game was far from over.